What you are about to hear had drivers screaming in the garage, teams demanding NASCAR take action, and the entire Cup Series championship flipped upside down in a single afternoon at Phoenix. And the craziest part? The pole sitter who set a track record on Saturday did not even finish the race. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you are going to have a completely different view of what is actually happening inside the NASCAR garage right now. Let us start at the very beginning, because this story does not start with a crash. It starts with something extraordinary on Saturday. Joey Logano walked into Phoenix Raceway on March 7, 2026, and did something nobody in the garage was fully prepared for. He did not just qualify well. He did not just earn a decent starting spot. He went out there and laid down the fastest qualifying lap a next-gen car has ever run at Phoenix Raceway. The number that popped up on the board was 26.561 seconds. That is not just fast. That is history-making fast. In less time than it takes most people to pour a cup of coffee, Logano had gone around the entire 1-mile Arizona Oval and broken a record that nobody else had been able to touch. When that number came up on the screen, the entire garage went quiet. Kyle Larson, the reigning Cup Series champion, qualified right next to him on the front row and was only 0.017 seconds behind. That is less than the blink of an eye. And even that tiny margin was enough to put Logano on pole and Larson in second. The defending champion could not beat him. That tells you everything about how fast the number 22 Team Penske Ford was on Saturday. Logano earned the Busch Light Pole Award, his 34th career pole position. And it was not just him showing up. His teammates came ready too. Austin Cindric qualified third. Ryan Blaney locked in fifth. 3 of the top 5 starting spots belonged to Team Penske. 3 out of 5. When one team puts 3 cars that close to the front, it changes the entire strategy of the race. They can work together. They can share information. They can set up pit strategies that benefit each other. For the rest of the field, that is a nightmare scenario. You are not racing one fast car. You are racing a coordinated unit of fast cars. Logano himself credited crew chief Paul Wolfe for dialing in the balance the car needed to maximize speed. He even admitted the car was sliding around during the lap, which makes that record even more remarkable. Most drivers lose significant time when their car is loose. Logano somehow found a way to use it. That is the difference between a good driver and a great one. The energy heading into Sunday, March 8th was electric. A record-breaking qualifying lap, a team near lockout of the front 5, and Logano chasing his 5th career win at Phoenix, a track where he already had 4 victories. Sunday felt like destiny. It was not. The race started exactly the way you would expect when the pole sitter has that kind of speed. Logano was fast from the very first green flag. He led 73 laps throughout the afternoon, controlling big chunks of the race and keeping the No. 22 Ford right where his team wanted it. Through the first 2 stages, the car was strong. Logano was right in the mix, managing traffic, making the right calls, and staying out of trouble. Then the final stage began. And everything changed. With lap 217 approaching, the field lined up for a restart. This is the moment on a 1-mile oval where track position becomes everything and patience starts to run thin. Logano and Ross Chastain made contact coming off that restart. The No. 22 Team Penske Ford gave the number 1 Trackhouse Chevrolet a shot in the rear in the dogleg transition. Chastain got loose and spun to the right. He came up the track and collected Anthony Alfredo, Bubba Wallace, and Austin Cindric, who took a hard hit into the outside retaining wall. Cindric did climb out of his number 2 Team Penske Ford under his own power, and was checked and released from the infield care center. But his day was done. For a driver who had been running well and accumulating stage points, that moment stung hard. The restarts get crazy here, and I'm not really sure what happened other than just cars jumping right across the racetrack, Cindric said. It's just a shame. I'm not discouraged. This 2 team has shown me a lot in the first 4 races, but it's just a shame we don't have the results for them. Logano stayed on track and stayed on the lead lap, but the number 22 was now carrying damage. The stage was set for the second incident, and this one would be far worse. With 58 laps remaining on lap 254, Logano moved up the track going into turn 1. He ran out of space. A.J. Allmendinger in the number 16 got into the right rear of Logano. That sent Logano sideways and straight up the track. The number 22 collected Josh Berry of Wood Brothers Racing, Daniel Suarez of Trackhouse Racing, and Chase Elliott of Hendrick Motorsports. 7 cars were involved in total. The debris field was massive. The pole-sitter's car was destroyed. "I just ran out of space going into turn 1," Logano said. Suarez, Logano, and Berry all took their vehicles to the garage, ending their respective days. They were credited with places 30th, 31st, and 32nd on the results sheet. The man who had set a track record less than 24 hours earlier finished 31st in a completely wrecked race car. "It just seemed like everyone ran out of space," Logano said. "There were 2 cars on the outside of me. I thought I had one on the inside, and you're trying to just merge all back together, and everyone ran out of space. I got the wrong end of it. It is what it is. It stinks. We had a pretty good car. I hate that I got into Ross. I had a good run there to try to slip him, and he kind of anticipated and went down to the bottom, and we got into each other. I just ended up spinning him, which I didn't mean to, so it's just not the greatest of days." Now here is where the story goes from a bad race to a full-blown controversy. When drivers got back to the garage after the race, the frustration did not stay quiet. It came out fast and it came out loud. The most vocal driver about the situation was Ross Chastain. If you follow NASCAR closely, you know Chastain is not someone who holds back when he has something to say. And after Phoenix, he had plenty to say. Chastain made it very clear that he felt the move crossed a line. He said that hard racing is expected in NASCAR, especially at a track like Phoenix, but in his view, that move went beyond aggressive and entered the territory of irresponsibility. He said it put several drivers in a terrible spot, ruined multiple teams' days, and he called on NASCAR to take a serious look at it. Chastain even went further, saying on record, "He admitted it. He admitted he wrecked me. Which means he should get fined if he wrecked me on purpose. That is a strong statement. That is a driver publicly suggesting that what happened to him was intentional enough to warrant a fine from the sanctioning body. That is not just post-race frustration talking. That is a direct challenge to NASCAR officials to do something about it." A.J. Allmendinger also spoke after the race, and his message focused on something every driver in that garage cares deeply about: awareness and respect on the track. Allmendinger acknowledged that everyone out there is fighting for position, and that is just NASCAR. That is normal. But he said there is still supposed to be a level of respect between drivers, especially when the field is packed together in heavy traffic. His point was direct. When you make an aggressive move in that situation, you are not just putting your own car at risk. You are putting 6 or 7 other cars at risk at the same time. And clearly that is exactly what happened at Phoenix, because this was not a 2-car incident. This was a wreck that rippled through the field and left multiple teams shaking their heads in the garage. Inside the garage after the race, several teams were reportedly already asking NASCAR officials to take a closer look at the incident. Now here is the important part. As of the time of this coverage, NASCAR had not announced any disciplinary action against Joey Logano. There was no penalty announced, no ruling issued. But officials did confirm that the crash would be reviewed as part of NASCAR's standard post-race evaluation process. And if you have watched this sport long enough, you know that does not always mean a penalty is coming. Sometimes NASCAR reviews these things and ultimately decides it was just aggressive racing. But the reason this story is getting so much attention is because of how many drivers were involved and how strongly some of them are reacting publicly. When multiple drivers start calling for a review of a specific move, that is when things start getting genuinely interesting. Logano did reach out to Chastain after the race. The two spoke on the phone. Chastain confirmed the conversation happened and that Logano apologized. That is something. But the broader question of whether NASCAR will take action is still hanging over the garage heading into the next race. Now, while all of that drama was playing out on the track and in the garage, the championship picture was quietly shifting in a significant way. Ryan Blaney took the checkered flag at Phoenix, staving off a fierce Christopher Bell challenge in the final laps to secure his 18th career Cup Series win. Blaney overtook Ty Gibbs with 10 laps left and gave himself the chance to become the first driver outside of Tyler Reddick to win a race in the 2026 season. Bell, equipped with 4 fresh tires compared to 2 for Blaney, appeared the likelier of the two to take the crown. He had led the most laps on the day. But Blaney held firm. Bell stalked him across the final few laps and made a charge, but Blaney was undaunted and crossed the line first. The full top 10 at Phoenix: Blaney, Bell, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Michael McDowell, and Eric Jones. Despite not winning, Tyler Reddick still leads the NASCAR Cup Series standings with 225 points. His 8th place finish at Phoenix snapped a 3-race winning streak to open the season. But his cushion in the standings remains enormous. Reddick sits 127 points ahead of 17th place, which shows exactly how dominant his start to the 2026 season has been. Ryan Blaney's win pushed him to 2nd in the overall standings. Bubba Wallace sits 3rd. Chase Elliott 4th, despite the damage he absorbed in the Logano incident. Shane Van Gisbergen is 5th, which is one of the more fascinating storylines of the entire season so far. Daniel Suarez sits just 2 points outside the playoff cut line, showing just how tight the battle already is only 4 races into the year. And now here is what this all means for the championship fight going forward. The battle between Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick is the storyline sitting above everything else right now. At Sonoma, Reddick battled a power steering issue throughout the entire race and finished last in the 36-car field. "It was just a very odd issue," Reddick said. "Everything seemed fine when we left the pit stall that first green flag cycle. We just had some issues with the steering and the power steering going in and out. That mechanical failure cost him the championship lead." Hamlin meanwhile placed 26th at Sonoma after being tagged from behind by Carson Hocevar on a restart. But he climbed 9 positions in the closing laps, got past Ty Dillon, and did just enough to grab the championship lead by a single point. Hamlin had climbed from a 129-point deficit to Reddick in just 6 races, which included a 3-race winning streak, the first of his career. "They've had misfortune and today we had misfortune," Hamlin said. "We just got to race it out. I don't know where the points are, but I don't control anything. As we see, things can happen." With 8 regular season races remaining before the chase, crew chief Billy Scott of the number 45 team put it plainly. "The reality is there is a reset coming in 8 weeks, so this is good practice for that. We're going to keep focusing on what we can do, and we think that's going out to win more races before we get to the chase. 1 move at Phoenix. 1 crash. 7 cars collected. Multiple championship points erased in an instant. That is the reality of this sport right now. Every single race, every single restart, and every single decision a driver makes in heavy traffic has direct consequences on who is going to be standing in victory lane when the championship is decided, back at Phoenix, at the end of the season. Now before you go anywhere, 3 things. Hit that like button right now. 1 tap from you tells YouTube to push this video to every NASCAR fan who needs to see it. 2nd, subscribe and hit the bell. This channel is building something real and every subscriber right now is part of this community from day 1. 3rd, share this video. Send it to that person in your group chat who always talks NASCAR and let them weigh in. Drop your answer in the comments right now. Was that move at Phoenix dirty or just hard racing? And can Tyler Reddick hold this championship lead or is Ryan Blaney about to take over? Comment below. This community is just getting started and every single comment gets read.